An environmental mystery. Hundreds of turtle doves turned up dead in the parks and streets of a town in northern Italy today. And scientists don't know what killed them. Maybe not news that would normally cross the globe, except that this is at least the sixth bizarre incident of its kind in the first week of the new year. And that's not to mention all the dead crabs and fish. So what's going on? Nick Watt has our report.
I wouldn't let them go outside right now, though.
Heard thumping outside, just 2 or 3.
He said heard what sounded like somebody knocking at the door.
It was unreal. It was something I didn't know what to think.
There's something strange going on, and it's not that every man in town has a beard.
Called the police department and told them I was like, not drunk, not on drugs, and she immediately said, "Oh, you're calling about the birds."
3,000 red-winged blackbirds dead on the ground.
Some of them were a little panicked, thinking it was the end of the world, quoting 2012 prophecies and things like that.
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering why all the birds are just black guys. We are trying to find that out.
100 miles down the road outside of Ozark, 100,000 dead drumfish washed up on a riverbank. A coincidence? And thousands more feathered dead in Texas, Kentucky, Louisiana.
We have blackbirds, starlings, sparrows. Several species of birds are affected.
In the Chesapeake Bay, 2 million more dead fish. In Florida, a bunch more fish no longer flapping. Dead snappers in New Zealand, 50 jackdaws in Sweden deceased, 40,000 crabs cold and lifeless on an English beach.
What has caused it, I don't know.
In Brazil, 100 tons of fish belly up. And today, 8,000 departed doves in Italy, blue stains in their little mouths. Why, oh why?
It's a mystery that's caused a real flap in this part of Arkansas, with many wondering what's happened to these birds.
About 10:30, I come out here and seen a bird drop.
I just immediately called Mom because I had to go to work, and I said, "You've got to come get the kids and get the dog because I don't know what's going on, but I don't want them messing with any of them." It was horrible. You could not even get down the road without running over hundreds. It was that bad.
Thousands of them started raining down just as locals were getting ready to celebrate the new year. They've spent the start of 2011 cleaning them up.
Started at 7 o'clock and picking up birds on the street, in the yards. It's been run over and just a mess.
So, spooky omen or natural causes? Well, that's what these teams are now trying to work out. They've flown over the area to test the air and say that's all clear, but not everyone is convinced.
Walking around in masks, and I'm wondering, do we need the same thing? Because what makes that happen for them just to drop out of the sky like that?
I asked these guys who was out here picking them up, and they don't seem to know anything. Nobody knows anything. This kind of freaked everybody out.
Lightning, hail and fireworks are some of the causes that experts are now looking into as they try and figure out what's caused this bolt out of the blue. And residents of all sizes will be waiting to hear their answers. Rhiannon Mills, Sky News.
We live here and we've never seen it before, so it's just weird.
The swarms of crabs showing up on local beaches have now spread to Mission Bay. Tonight, we are learning more about the conditions that may have brought the crustaceans to our shores. 10 News reporter Matt Mendez is live along Mission Bay with how some people are trying to save the crabs.
We don't have to look very hard, Riel. These tuna crabs are scattered all along the North Shore here at Mission Bay. They span for about a half mile here along the bay. And today we saw some tourists trying to do all they can to save them. From afar, there's a blanket of red specks lining the North Shore of Mission Bay along Rivera Drive. But up close, you can see they're red tuna crabs. Some are alive, but many are dead. Carla Barros and her husband are visiting from Brazil.
We're trying to see if some of them were alive and put them back in the water.
The big question many people have is, why are they washing ashore?
We were wondering what's wrong, whether they're sick or whether there's something in the water, and why they all washed up.
Researchers with Scripps Institute of Oceanography don't have an explanation. They're running tests and say it may have something to do with the warm water coming from Mexico. Still not sure yet if it's connected to the developing El Nino conditions.
We live here and we've never seen it before, so it's just weird.
This past week, we saw the crabs pop up in Ocean Beach. They've been spotted along the coastline from Tijuana all the way to La Jolla. And those researchers, again, are still running tests. They should know more information next week. And these two crabs that we found out there were already dead when we found them. Reporting live at Mission Bay, Matt Mendis, 10 News.
Thursday afternoon, as workers hurried to finish plugging the Deepwater Horizon well, other workers continued cleaning up.
Yeah, it gets you really upset. It really pisses you off when you come out here and you hear people saying that the oil's been picked up, it's over. The spill is finished. It's not finished. We still got a lot of oil left out here to pick up.
BP now reports 109 miles of shoreline are still experiencing moderate to heavy oil. This is ground zero. Bay Jimmy in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana.
Last week, just in 1 week, we picked up 26,000 gallons of oil water out of this area and 8,700 bags of oily waste. And you look out here and it doesn't even look like we've put a dent in this. It's unbelievable.
PJ Hahn is in charge of coastal management for the parish, but lately he's been swamped with fish kills. Massive ones, like the one we found Thursday near Bay Joe Wise.
A week ago today, we came across a fish kill on the other side. Probably a little larger than this, but this is still a pretty good bit of fish.
The kill stretched around a canal for at least a quarter of a mile. Fish so thick they had washed into the marsh and piled on the grass. While mostly small bait fish called pogies, there were also speckled trout and a large number of stingrays, at least 10 that we saw, and there could be many more. The smell was enough to make you wish you had no nose. The sight itself broke Elmer Rogers' heart.
What I'm going to do about feeding my children, what I'm going to do about feeding my family to put them through school.
Rogers is a shrimper who grows more and more concerned with each new fish kill.
We're going to be just like the fish you see in the water, dead, because we can't go. The economy is just too bad. Where are we going to go?
Investigators have determined the previous fish kills were unrelated to the Deepwater Horizon disaster, but to say people here in Plaquemines Parish are skeptical of that would be an understatement. And while it's impossible to say without a necropsy what killed these fish, it is easy to see many of them have those telltale red, oily spots on them.
I have never in my life seen this. This don't happen. And to see this, it tells us right then and there that we know it's because of their incident.
We saw plenty of oil, and there's plenty of oil still left out here, so I think that somebody's got to come out here and do a little more testing and find out exactly what's killing all these fish.
Investigators have been notified of this recent fish kill and will come and inspect it. Rich Matthews, The Associated Press, Bay Joe Wise, Louisiana.
Dünyanın en büyük ringa balığı ihracatçısı olan İzlanda, tarihinin en büyük balık ölümlerini yaşıyor. Ülkenin önemli bir gölünde önceki gün 30 bin ton balık bir anda kıyıya vurdu. Telef olan balıkların ekonomik değerinin 30 milyon dolar olduğu belirtildi. İzlandalı araştırmacılar ülkedeki on binlerce tonluk balık ölümlerinin nedeninin bölgedeki düşük oksijen seviyesi olabileceği üzerinde duruyor.
I'm at Pasir Ris Beach east of Singapore, and as you can see right behind me, a row of rotting fish and other kinds of marine creatures which have been washed up here since last night. According to the Agri-Food and Veterinary Authority of Singapore, the mass deaths of fish is the result of gill damage caused by plankton, microorganisms that you can find in seawater. Here at Pasir Ris Beach, the stench is very strong and unbearable. I've spoken to quite a few people earlier who tried to come here for a nice jog on the beach, and they have to decide to return home because of the stench. And they're also they're not sure if it's safe for them to do this anymore.
It's really, of course, not nice, and because we have a baby, and actually we want the baby to walk on the beach normally, but today we really cannot do that. Yeah, because it's very dirty and smells terrible.
My hobby is fishing, and today I decided not to go because when I went to the beach, I saw a lot of dead fish. So I don't think so it's healthy to get a fish at the moment. That's why I never go fishing today.
I'm very concerned because this year very bad. Last 2 years I working not so many fish died. This year many.
Need another one over there? That's what I'm saying.
Millions of fish are dying along a major river in Fujian province. Chinese authorities say low oxygen levels in water after torrential rains caused the deaths, but local fish farmers suspect that pollution from nearby factories is the real cause.
Fish farmers in southeast China are reeling after millions of fish suddenly died over several days last week. Chinese media estimates 8 to 9 million farm-bred grass carp died along a section of the Ming River in Fujian province. The fish started dying on August 27th, first in Huangtian Town in Gutian County, then downstream in Shuikou Town. Fujian's fishery authorities said on Tuesday that low oxygen levels in the water caused by recent torrential rain was to blame. But one farmer told the Shanghai Daily that even as they pumped oxygen into the water, fish kept dying in large numbers. Some suspect pollution from nearby industrial waste is the real culprit.
The county took samples of water for testing. They say it's a lack of oxygen. It's not possible. It wouldn't cause such a large spread death. I believe it's waste from upstream, from manufacturing plants or something.
Fish farming supports the livelihood of many locals. This footage posted by netizens online shows that farmers are now watching their fish rot in water instead of selling them on the markets.
A lot of fish have died. We're all broke now. It's so strange. So many fish have died this year. Now the air has a foul smell.
State-run media reports the fish die-off has affected about 800 fishing families, causing more than $29 million in economic losses.
Volunteers scour the shores of Washington state for dead birds, something they do every month. November was a bad month.
We had almost 130 of them out on our beach in about a mile stretch, plus 10 other species, so there were a lot of, it was a long day.
So far, volunteers have found around 8,000 carcasses of the blue-footed seabird called the Cassin's auklet along the coast from British Columbia down into Northern California. Scientists estimate as many as 100,000 auklets, most of them young, have died. The question is why? Researchers believe the Cassin's auklets flew closer to the shore than they normally do during their annual migration south. When they couldn't find the amount of food they're used to, they ended up dying of starvation and washed up along the shores of beaches like this.
They're probably not finding food there or enough food, and that's causing some of the population to come closer to shore. And they're not finding food there, obviously, because they're dying and washing ashore.
Tests confirmed the auklets likely died of starvation. Scientists say they didn't find any traces of other potential killers like oil, viruses, or bacteria. They now suspect warm water is to blame.
Warmer than normal, that is, from California all the way up into the Gulf of Alaska.
The birds feed on tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill, which grow in cold water. U.S. scientists say an expanse of exceptionally warm water has spread across the Pacific from the Gulf of Alaska to Japan. The auklet deaths are the latest in a series of marine life mortality events in the world's oceans. Fish, birds, and sea stars have been dying off in record numbers. In January, U.S. scientists published a study blaming disease for just over a quarter of the mass die-offs. Human actions like pollution caused 19%, and climate-related events factored into another 25%.
There is a seasonal cycle in the ocean. It's warmer in the summer, at the end of summer, and colder at the end of winter. And last winter, it didn't cool off as much as usual.
Some U.S. scientists predict the auklet die-off could spread to other marine life later this year. Chris Casquejo, CCTV, Ocean Park, Washington.
This is the Huangpu River, which leads into Shanghai. It's a busy shipping lane, but it's also one of the main sources of water for the some 23 million residents of the city in China. And those residents have been very nervous in recent days. You know, I'm standing on just a pile of junk and trash next to the river. There's always pollution problems here. But what's really disturbing, in the last few days, there have been pigs. Thousands of dead pigs floating on this river. They've been fished out by the authorities, and people are asking questions, how did this happen?
There were dead pigs all around and they really stank, he says. Of course we are worried, but what can you do about it? It's water we have to drink and use.
Despite the authorities saying that they've tested the water and there's nothing wrong with it, people here don't know who to trust because of all the food safety issues in China and the water pollution scandals. We've just been here a few moments and already we found a dead pig lying in the water. They don't know exactly what this is from, but authorities believe it could be the porcine cyrovirus, which is dangerous to pigs but doesn't affect people. The UN estimates that there are nearly 500 million pigs in China, and as the urban middle class grows, they worry, can authorities keep up with the demand and keep people safe when disease strikes? David McKenzie, CNN, Shanghai.
They come for monuments and the mall, the sights and the sounds, but not so much the smell. At least not right now. Visitors to Washington, D.C. this week getting a bit of a stinky surprise at the Constitution Gardens pond. Lots and lots of dead fish, and the aroma, not pleasant.
I kind of thought they were flowers, and we walked over here and it's thousands of dead fish, not flowers.
Preliminary tests suggest that algae is the culprit.
I guess over last night, the fish started dying off, and this morning we're over here cleaning up all the floating ones.
But some visitors believe they aren't getting rid of them fast enough.
I walk here regularly, every week, a couple days a week, and I've never smelled it like this. It's disgusting.
The Park Service says fish kills happen here occasionally due to low oxygen levels in the water. Jill Craig, Associated Press.
పోయిన నెల 2వ తారీఖున చెరువు తీసుకున్నాము. చెరువు తీసుకొని చేపలు కైకలూరు పోయి చేపలు తీసుకొచ్చాము. 2వ తారీఖున పిల్ల పోసాము. పిల్ల పోసి దాదాపు పిల్ల 1,50,000 పిల్ల పోసాము. ఒక పిల్ల వచ్చేసి మాకు 9 రూపాయల నుంచి 10 రూపాయలు పాత పిల్ల దొరికాము. ఒక సంవత్సరం పిల్ల కేజీ లెక్క ఇచ్చేస్తారు. అక్కడ 8 రూపాయల కేజీ లెక్క అక్కడనే ఇచ్చేస్తారు. ఆ పిల్ల తెచ్చి ఇక్కడ కేజీకి వచ్చేసి 8 నుంచి 9 పిల్లలు వస్తున్నాయి. మా నష్టం ఇప్పుడు ఈ 40,000 నుంచి 50,000 మధ్యలో పిల్ల చచ్చిపోయింది. దాదాపు 10 నుంచి 15 లక్షలు లాస్ మాది చెరువు.
The mystery started when people started seeing dead birds. We're on the eastern shoreline of San Francisco Bay, and this is where the birds began washing up. They looked like they were covered in oil, but it wasn't. It's some kind of mysterious goo. And we're not talking about just a few birds that have died. The death toll is now at more than 200. The problem is the substance gets into the bird's feathers, causing hypothermia.
Leave them right in here, yeah. Okay.
This really has the look and feel of a trauma center in a major hospital. You have all of these people working that are taking care of the patients, except in this instance, the patients are birds. Lauren and Patrick here are just two of the many volunteers who are here hours on end trying to get these birds clean.
So it's stressful on the bird to be handled, for sure. So, we try and make the wash go as quickly as possible.
Scientists have ruled out oil as the harmful substance, but it's just as dangerous.
This guy has big clumps.
It has the consistency of glue that sticks to the bird's feathers. Dawn dishwashing detergent is used to help remove the gunk, while a lab tries to figure out exactly what it is.
It looks almost like rubber cement. It's tacky on the bird's feathers. Doesn't want to come off on our gloves. But we are having some very good results with the current protocols of washing, and we are able to clean these birds.
If the birds make it outside and get into one of these miniature pools, it means that they're doing well. This is where they're observed for a few days before they're finally released back into the wild. About 250 birds so far have been treated here. The worst may be over. But until scientists can figure out where that goo came from, there's still a concern more of these helpless animals could be found.
Tonight, a disturbing mystery in Menifee.
Yes, Ken, scores of fish are found dead, actually floating in a local lake. Lake Menifee is just east of the 215 freeway and south of Newport Road. Inland Empire reporter Tom Waite looks into what may be causing the fish to die.
It's just horrible. There's kids, there's fishing, and it's terrible to watch.
Hundreds of fish have turned up dead in a neighborhood lake.
everything from the shad all the way up to the bass. Everything is dead.
But what is poisoning them? The lethal substance has been taking out the fish for the past several days here in Lake Menifee.
I wouldn't imagine anybody put chemical in the lake to kill them off. It's something big, because this lake's been here a long time, and there's some very well-established fish in here.
Lisa Quick says fish are not the only victims. Birds have died as well.
The baby ducks that have all just been born, it's just been really hard to watch and hard to see.
The lake is about a half-mile east of the 215 on private property. We checked, and because it's not on public land, state and local agencies do not regulate or manage the lake. A representative with the HOA here on the property said they are testing the water for deadly chemicals, but so far nothing is conclusive. One possible theory from a state official is that because a nearby pool was acid washed and rechlorinated, that some of those chemicals may have leaked into the lake. Reporting from Menifee, I'm Tom Waite, CBS 2 News.